What is your purpose here? How many of you are there?
Welcome to Voyage of the Geek for another week. This is episode 3 of our deep dive into the 1977 classic sci-fi from Steven Spielberg, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. And being episode 3 this time around, we're going to roll out The Probe, which is a regular segment that we have where we test our panel of experts to see if they've been paying attention during this film. And it's done via a quiz, and every quiz requires some kind of buzzer system. In COVID times, it was our names via Skype chat, but in the studio we have professional buzzers. So Dan, can you show me your, or let me hear your buzzer? Got the spring.
That was a blue buzzer held by Dan.
Indeed.
Tom?
Brought to you by the letter T.
He's a honker.
Right.
A maroon buzzer held by Tom.
And Rick.
Orange buzzer.
Holding an orange buzzer.
All right, gentlemen, let's jump into The Probe.
What the hell is going on around here?
Back off, man. I'm a scientist.
There is no Don't cross the streams.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
It may shock you. It might even horrify you.
And if you were paying attention, you probably heard Roy NEARY. His voice was part of that little montage. What's going on around here? When he was being interrogated, and he wanted some information. So this is a quiz where we go through a series of questions. Judges' decision is final. There is a new rule because we have realised that...
What's the new rule, Dave?
The new rule is that I tried to imagine what it was like for somebody listening to the show and not watching the show. You guys were answering questions without me finishing the question, and then I wouldn't finish the question even though you answered, and then we moved on to the next question. So for someone listening, they didn't know what the question was. They just heard
Tom
the first
was
two
like
words.
reading the question.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I distinctly remember looking at the picture, which
Yes.
was a big mistake, because then Tom would read the question, answer the question, get the points. And I got
Dan's
thrashed.
still looking at the picture.
Dad is still bitter.
I'm still slightly bitter.
Yes. Well, let's just say that this particular rule change came in as a result of Tom McGill.
Okay. So I voted
Looking for an
everyone.
advantage.
So it's the McGill exception.
So
Well,
what it is?
So what is the rule?
The new
have to
rule
close
is
our eyes.
I have to say all of the question. You have to
Okay.
let me complete the question before
Tom
you,
has to close his eyes
Before you buzz in.
until
Well, how about you
finish.
don't show it until you read it out?
Well, you can read it. It doesn't matter, but you can't answer it until I finish the question.
But is there a
Okay.
penalty for going, like,
If you go early, you're out.
is that the thing?
Yes.
Yep.
So when do we know when the, you have a pistol that goes,
You'll hear the end of the question because I'll stop talking. So, but you'll
what's
also
the graze?
But you'll also
How do I know you're not just holding breath because you want to continue reading more?
you'll see it up here as well.
This is where the risk and reward comes in. You
I
jump
know.
in too quick, you lose.
I'm just going to go burp early and get you both.
Ooh, that's a good trick.
Always looking
buzzer
for an
over here.
advantage. That's how these
Always.
bloody Germans get world supremacy with cars and musical
Buzzers.
instruments and fucking everything else.
No,
All right.
we figured it out. My son figured it out last. He said in German lesson they learned that Germans don't do anything on Sundays. I said no, we don't. Like nothing? No, you go to church maybe, or you go to the pub, but you couldn't mow your lawn on a Sunday. You wipe your road with a broom on Saturday, and you wash your car on a Saturday, and you mow your lawn on Saturday. On Sunday, you don't do anything. The neighbors are gonna stick the police on you if you mow your lawn.
I like that system.
Wasn't Poland invaded on the Sunday?
I think because they never expected that. But the fact is, yeah, if you work 6 days a week and then the next day just do nothing at all. That's how the Germans
Lulls
do.
everybody into a false sense of security.
No one expects the Germans.
Meanwhile,
All right, let's get into it.
Mowing the lawn.
So, the Probe Close Encounters version, which I love those tones. I love those musical tones. So let's get into question number 1. Buzzers at the ready. Make sure you hold them close to your microphone.
Oh, yeah.
Question number 1. Which location does the movie open in? Rickers.
Mexico.
I will accept a more specific answer if anyone has it.
The Sonora Desert.
That is correct. It is the Sonora Desert in Mexico.
The Sonora Desert. How did you know that?
It says it, and it comes up as a lower third.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, it says look, Sonora Desert, and then that fades, and it says present day, which is weird to put in a film.
It's
Present day.
50
But because
years
there's
old.
the old 1945 airplanes sitting there. Yeah.
Because nowhere does it say 1977 in the film. It's just present day. It's not present day. So points go to Tommy.
You can also tell it's in Mexico because there's badly shaven, black bearded Mexicans
there's
with only
Mexicans.
3 teeth left in their mouth.
Yes, they were so.
They're so cliche.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well. That's what I thought as well. Do you think they filmed that sequence in a real windy day, or they had
big
6
propellers.
of the big mother of all, probably a plane? Let's just back that plane up to the
They
set.
just turned on all the
They are
planes.
massive planes. I love those planes. They're so
They have 3
impressively
crew.
huge.
They're big.
And they have little stairwells inside.
Yeah, you don't realise how
They
big
have
they
an
are until you
elevator
see the little
inside.
door on
My
the
joke
side.
is that I think they've got like little butlers and things that bring up drinks. Would you like a drink?
All right, next question, gentlemen. What is unusual about the planes found in the desert? Rickers.
They're from 50 years beforehand.
I'm going to
Good
accept that.
condition.
They are from a 1945
Yeah.
training flight. So yes, you could say Flight 19 as well.
Yeah.
But the unusual thing is they're from a missing flight from 50 years ago.
But
So-
what if my answer's more unusual?
What's your answer?
They all still work. They're all still full of fuel, and all the electricity is still in their batteries, and the seats are still nice and toasty warm from when a butt was sitting on it.
That's not like in the
suggesting
absence.
just because it's in Mexico, it would have been stripped down and
No,
the fuel
but-
sucked out.
No, this is actually-
Racist.
No, this is a significant part of the thing. They check for the fuel. Because the actual currently prevailing theory, what actually happened to Flight 19, is that the pilot who led the flight
Got lost.
mistook the wrong island for Florida, and he was actually somewhere else.
Yeah.
Made the wrong right turn and sent everyone out to the ocean.
Yeah.
And then they ran out of. By the time they realized they were wrong, they would have not had enough fuel to come home. They would have all run out of fuel one after the other and ditched.
So if they have lots of fuel left,
Yeah.
50 years later, that's pretty
That's significant.
unusual.
And also, there was another flight that was sent to look for them. Flight 19 was,
And
another
it went
crew-
missing as well. Was
and
it
it also
Catalina?
went missing, and I didn't think it was. Was it?
It was a floating boat.
It was a floating boat thing, but it wasn't. But it was a certain airplane that I forgot what it was, but they later on discovered that they have a tendency to explode.
Oh.
Fuel fumes
Vapors.
would build up, and they would just randomly explode in mid-flight.
Wow.
So they reckon that probably happened to the flight. But that's where the Bermuda Triangle whole mystery comes from, because there's lots of stuff that went missing down there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to give the points to Rick.
Ripped off. Come on, mine was
Mainly
more
because
unusual.
this is the most interesting thing is that it's a missing training flight from 50 years ago. The fact that it still had fuel and could start is also interesting. But
Can't beg your points, Dan.
the dominant.
But
yeah.
the question-
I'd love to give you points, but I can't give you as much points as Rick. He was first, and I can only gift even points here.
Okay, well, I'll
That's
be
a-
on the
that's a
website,
programming
and
problem.
I'll be making an appeal later. I'll be filling in the form. We've got a 19-page form for the appeal.
And actually, it wasn't 50 years from that 1945. It's what, 32 years.
Yeah. So that
37.
so you were wrong. Is that what you're saying?
I was still right, just not as right.
Just the maths was a bit off.
All right, gentlemen, let's move on
I'm
to
a
the next
writer and
question.
not
Was alternate maths.
Adderupera.
Buzzers at the ready. The sole witness, the old man, said the sun came out last night and did what? Who was the spring? Yeah. Dan, all
You
yours,
gotta get
mate.
it right now.
Yes, I better. And it sang to him.
Exactly right.
Usol
Victory.
Kintar.
Yes.
I said it in its proper language. That's more points.
Why did you say it? What was it say it in its proper language?
The sun came out last night and it sang to
Sol-
him.
Usol
Cantar.
Nonocha I Cantar.
Yeah. And he repeats it. It's a bit chilling that he just repeats this same sentence.
But that doesn't even make sense because my son sings to me lots of times. I mean, this doesn't even work in English.
Sol.
In other languages it works, but not in English.
Well, Sol.
Oh, no, he's
Sol
thinking,
is sun,
he's
yeah?
spoke-
Yeah. Sol a Nonocha
That's why he has to...
Cantar, the sun
Exactly.
at night, sang.
Dan gets the points.
It sang to him. Huzzah.
Next question. In which city does much of Close Encounters take place?
Bugger.
You're the doorbell?
Yep.
Yep. What do you got?
Can I pretend to be like an American with geography
Yeah.
and say Indiana, even though I know it's a state
It's a
and
state,
not
it's not a city. No, no.
city?
Indiana's close. If someone doesn't offer me the city, I'll accept the state. Given that we visited quite a few in this film.
And we also go to Wyoming.
Yes, and that's not the answer to
No,
this one. So
it's
You want
Indiana.
the town, yeah.
Yep.
No.
The very famous city of Springfield, Indiana.
I think that's Illinois. It's Springfield,
The safest
Illinois.
guess.
It's about the safest guess that I can come up with.
I think it's along the lines of what he was looking for the everyman's town to live in. Like almost, was it buttfuck Idaho, you know, sort of like in the middle of a watermelon spitting.
Backwater.
Yeah.
Yep.
Camel Kick Creek.
All right,
Yes.
we don't know
So
where is it.
it's Muncie.
Muncie.
Muncie, Indiana, which is quite often used in film. It's mentioned. I somehow have heard that name a lot in my life. Muncie, Indiana. I don't know whether it's Spielberg's got a connection to it or not. I don't know whether it's popped up in his films quite a
Maybe they had big tax rebates or something over there that allowed filmmakers to do good.
bit. Maybe. So the points go to Rickers
As they should.
on a technicality that he got Indiana correct. And next question. Who played the everyman hero, Roy Neary? Was that Tommy?
Yeah.
Who you got?
Richard Dreyfuss.
Richard Dreyfuss, who is probably the most famous everyman actor apart from Dustin Hoffman.
Is that him now?
Not now. I'd say that's probably late 80s, early 90s. He looks a lot older now. Yeah, absolutely. Tommy gets the points. Next question is worth triple points. So 30 points for this question.
Can I just say for the people just listening to this, Dan is frowning and thinking really hard. And
This is where I catch up.
and Tom's sitting there looking like he's thinking of ice cream.
Ooh, now that you mention it, of course I'm going to think of ice cream.
All right, here we go.
I'm distracted.
How many children did the Nearys have? Who was the doorbell? I think.
Me.
Yeah, no, I think it was Rickers.
3. 2 boys and a little
Unless
girl.
you count the husband as another child because he plays with trains and he steals his son's.
It goes without
Change?
saying every husband's a man-child.
There's another thing that I have to tell for my trivia thing that I didn't mention earlier, which was also cut. When the lights go out, the lakes on the mini train set glow in the dark.
I saw that when blackout happened.
Yeah, and because there's a shot earlier which was cut from the movie, is where the son accuses the father of stealing his glow-in-the-dark paint, and the father goes, "No, I didn't take your glow-in-the-dark," and that's the payoff there when the light goes off. He did do it. So they have 4 children. That's what I stand by that.
Yeah, it's not. We're not even going to entertain that, Tommy.
Not actually real.
Wafer thin, that argument.
Wafer thin.
So Rick gets the extra points. scores so far. Rick out in front, 50 points. So those 30 points have kicked you out clear of Tom. You were even with Tom going into that last question. Dan on 10 points.
You're still frowning.
Yes, not a lot of space between Dan and Tom, but Rick has taken an early lead thanks to that triple points question.
And he's off.
Let's get on to the next question. What was the name of the little boy who first saw the UFOs? Who had the doorbell?
I got the boing.
Who had the ding-dong doorbell? That's the one I keep hearing first. Am I hearing
This
it?
is boop, boop. That was last.
Is
I know
that
that.
yeah, that's the one I heard first. Let me know if
I
you...
cannot tell because I hear it through the headphones. I don't know who's. I cannot hear who's.
Yeah, I'm only hearing it through the headphones as well. But yeah, if I'm not
might
hearing
have
it
to
wrong,
shout.
you let me know. So who got that one? Did you answer? You answered it.
No, I'm about to answer.
Okay. Brian.
A good Aussie name, actually.
Bertie.
Barry,
Barry.
a.k.a.
Baz.
Barry. For those not Australian listening, we put an A or an E or an O after a name.
Yes.
Robbo,
Yep.
Bazza,
Davo.
Davo, and when do we put I?
We put
I's in,
Well, female names like
Yeah.
Terry, Stevie.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll just shove an I on the end of it for the girls and a Y for boys.
Yeah, it's an Australian thing.
All right, Rick gets the points for Big Barry.
a Bazza.
How old was he?
3.
Probably
Very cute
the
little
best
bugger.
acting performance of a 3-year-old that I've ever seen
He
ever
was
in any movie.
considered for an Oscar.
I think he probably,
He
if there was a kids
considered.
category,
If
he
got
should
it,
have got it.
He would have been the youngest one in the world to be nominated.
In such a serious piece with all sorts of bizarre
Crazy.
stuff going on around him, he held his own.
Best-
He
best
held the screen
supporting
time.
Best supporting male actor was I think the nomination. that
It
he
was
considered
compelling.
for.
Like when he was on screen, it was compelling.
Yeah.
Next question. What physical symptom tends to follow a close-up sighting of the UFOs?
Oh, it was too early
Let the
because he hadn't
twang.
said UFOs yet. Dave hadn't finished.
Yeah,
his
someone went
sentence yet.
early then.
That was Dan.
I
He's
think
out.
it was Rick, actually.
The spring.
Well, the important thing is
who's-
that I was on time.
Yeah.
What's yours? No, it
Yeah,
was you.
yeah,
You went
mine's-
early. So who wants to answer?
Well, this is the electricity and everything sort of electrically either turns on or off. If it's lights, they go off. If it's toys, they go on. So it's a bit
Wrong.
ambivalent.
Yeah, wrong.
Fail.
Physical symptom.
Oh, the wobbling of the letterboxes and the
No,
card.
no,
Physical
fail.
symptom.
Symptom.
Fail. No,
Sunburn!
No, enough. No, enough.
Too late.
From you.
Dog, cat, mouse.
Enough. Now you answer wrong, and then it'll be me who wins.
A sore
No, you're
ass
already disqualified.
from being probed.
Sore ass. I like it.
All right, I'll pay that.
So, Dan, are you going to make it official and say this word?
Yes, sunburn. I was the one who only actually had it right.
Oh, amazing. You get disqualified and win. The effect, interestingly, was that the car was on a 360-degree gimbal. We
Yeah.
probably could tell that because we do special effects.
I didn't notice.
But
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
isn't
gravity
the thing-
kept turning.
stuff flies this way. Even the microphone hangs at this angle, and
Yep.
he is in a car with the camera being rotated.
He even gets weightlessness when the seat
Yeah, he
takes the
floats
weight.
up.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Again, you got to ask, what are those aliens up to? It's like, all right, Ensign, engage the tracto beam. And he says, I've got a hold of it, Captain. I've got him. And then they check the scanner. No, that's the letterbox, you idiot. You're shaking the letterbox. Disengage the tractor beam. Move it to the left.
It's almost worthy for us to do a voiceover of that.
Yeah,
Just pick a sequence.
of all the alien interactions, like
Yeah.
driving through, like, yeehaw, first one of Macca's, pays. Yeehaw.
All right, gentlemen, next question. Buzzer's ready. What does the sign held by the old eccentric farmer say? Who's the Hong Kong?
I think that was everyone at the same.
Are you Hong Kong? That was the first one I heard,
Yeah,
Tommy.
okay.
What do you got?
I think it says, "Please be friendly."
Doesn't it say something about 5G and COVID?
You bastards with the 5G. You fried my brain.
If there's anybody else that has
gist.
more accurate...
The actual wording.
Yeah, the actual... Tom's on the right lines and he'll take the points if there's no one else that are going to jump.
I'm going with... Can I be first for the probe? No, I'm going
Please,
with...
no more.
I'm going with Be nice.
No, I
That's-
think there was like more of a begging connotation in there. Please be friendly. There was a please in there, I'm sure.
What about you, Rick? Can't remember.
No, I'm sticking to 5G and COVID.
I think it's half right, Tom, but I can't give you half points.
No, you got to give me full points.
I'll take the points. Fine.
Oh, stop and be friendly.
Stop and be friendly.
What did I say? I can't even remember now.
No,
Be
it?
nice.
You said bring out.
Mine had the spirit of it.
You said bring out the probe, didn't you? Didn't he say?
Yeah.
Well, that was my first guess.
So the stop part, I think, is important enough
stop.
that it has to be included.
Hey, I
Half
still
points.
think
Give him half points.
probe me first actually probably does still contain the spirit of his sentence there.
I'm
They're
gonna.
kind of the same vibe.
I think the anti-spirit is what you've been imbuing.
I'm going to. I'm going to award
Give it to me.
points
It's
to both.
fine.
Ah, for the love of God.
Judge's decision.
Next question. Name 2 items NEARY, or Roy, makes a model out of the mountain. Who has the honk honk? Yeah, that one I think I heard first.
Wasn't it?
No, I'm pretty
Can
sure.
we
I
go
was
halves?
last.
I say shaving foam, and then somebody else can say potato mash.
No, somebody's going to give me 2 of them.
Well, potato mash and foam, and
Well,
then
that'd
there's
be
other
Tom.
stuff.
Mashed potato and clay.
Clay, and also
Garbage bin and bricks.
and earth and soil and twigs.
It was, wasn't it? It wasn't clay at the end. The big one he made was made of
But
mud.
the one on
and-
the model thing was clay.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So,
he
I
made-
forgot about the earthen one that he.
I think
he
that
built.
was
That's
actually
the
like
biggest one.
a garbage bin upside down. Is what he. You remember he tipped out all the garbage
That's what
on
he
the
did too.
street.
That was a small bin
Yeah.
compared to
So I'm going to give Tom the points
the story. Here
because
goes.
he.
Is that the
he
Indians?
buzzed in first.
The story is that the little girls were chased by a bear, and then they let loose the prayer, and the prayer raised the ground beneath the 2 little girls, and they were lifted out of the rain.
For this
the
structure.
Indian story, because those
Devil's
lines
Mountain.
are the claw marks from the bears that scratched
to get up there.
to get up there, and they almost got up there, but then the girls were sucked up into the heavens and became the 2 of the stars.
Okay, so this is Devil's Mountain. Let me just do a quick. Oh, sorry.
When we go back.
Go back. I heard a story that somebody once on Devil's Mountain decided it'd be a really cool idea to parachute out and land on Devil's Mountain
Oh,
as a cool stunt.
oh dear!
And then he would, after he'd parachuted down and landed on it.
I mean, out of a plane onto
out of
the
an
top.
airplane
Oh, I
with,
thought you meant-
with a parachute.
For some reason, I thought he jumped off the mountain to land back on the mountain.
No.
That's not how parachutes work.
Yeah.
Big updraft.
And he brought with him, some, parachute and some rope and some other stuff.
It's a good thing to bring when you go parachuting.
Yeah, some rope and some stuff.
Parachute.
And then after he landed on the mountain and he'd done the thing, he would then... All right, so he went, yahoo! And he jumped off and landed on the top of the mountain. And then he was like, stuck up there. And 2 or 3 days later, people realised that, hang on, he hasn't come down yet. And they're like in this position. They can see this little tiny dude up the top there, the size of a little tiny ant. And they're
There's
like,
no shelter. up
yeah,
here.
it's like, well,
That
what
is
are we-
sunburn.
what are we going to do?
Nothing.
And he like chucks a rope over the side and it goes down to about here or something or other. And there was no way to get the poor guy down. Eventually, I don't know, the army comes in and the helicopters and more shit. He was stuck up there for a week and he nearly starved.
There's a short film in that. If you find the right actor, there's a short film in that. It's awesome.
Do you know that the campground of that national park where that mountain is showing Close Encounters of the Third Kind every single night
Really?
since 1977?
Just cashing in.
Every
Wouldn't
night
it be
that
cool
movie
if
gets
they
played.
like projected it onto?
It would be cool. They'd be able to do it
Devil's
now.
Mountain.
No problems.
Maybe that's why it's so smooth in the middle. Maybe they tried to go sort of a TikTok film that sort of vertically
Yeah.
fits in there.
They can
All right.
project onto the opera house and stuff. They could easily project on.
We used to go and we have a family in Georgia, and they have a big monument there, Rock Mountain, Stone Mountain, it's called, and that has a flat-hewn side because they have Confederate heroes there. And we'd go there for laser shows and movie screenings. They would they would project
Straight on
onto
the
the
rock.
side onto the rock.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Awesome. All right, gentlemen. The points went to remind me.
Me.
No,
Tom,
it was Tom.
All of us.
No, it was Tom.
everybody said something.
But only one person buzzed in and said the 2 things.
The problem with your rule is waiting till the end is we all know the answer. We all buzz at the same
That's
time.
the way it works, man. That's the way it works. We've got to let the people at home hear the question.
If you want to change the rules, you have
Yes,
to
sir.
fill in the form on the website.
No, it's my fault that the rule exists.
That's
Exactly.
I feel
You
somewhat
have to pay
responsible.
penance. All right, next question. Close Encounters was nominated for 8 Oscars. Which one did it win? I heard the twang. Dan.
right. Best cinematography. Thank you very much.
Absolutely correct. Vilmos Zsigmond. Is that how I'd say that?
That's
This
definitely
this
how.
looks absolutely in your...
That's definitely how anybody who doesn't know how to say it would say it.
When I see a Z followed by an S, that's over to Tom. How would I say that? It was
Yeah, Zygmunt. I would
Zygmunt.
say. The producers did not want the guy. One of the 2 producers was a lady who really tried to get him off the shot.
this guy.
Yeah, he spent too much time setting up lights and making the
Too
perfect
much
shot.
time fiddling around with that bloody
That
camera.
bloody camera. And then he gets best cinematography. That's a vindication, isn't it?
And it's in the same year as Star Wars. So Star Wars was up for a metric shit ton of awards and won them that year. Lucas didn't. He's still bitter about that.
I'm sure he is. That would have been a.
He's never won an Academy Award. Lucas.
Or he'll get a Lifetime Achievement Award. No, you won't. Don't worry.
All right. But then again, he gave us Jar Jar Binks. Next question. Ooh, triple points. So there's a little bit of
This
ground.
one's mine.
It's either Rick just runs away with it and you guys have got no hope, or we can have a little bit of a catch-up here. Buzzers at the ready. When the government broadcasts the 5-note musical motif into space, what do they get back? Who's the doorbell? Doorbell Rickus.
They get the longitude and latitude.
Absolutely.
Oh,
It's a little
Devil's
more
Mountain.
information that I need, but you're right. They got a series of numbers
Triple
back.
points. I
Coordinates.
want to be covered. I want to be
Wait
Thorough.
a
Thorough.
minute.
I want to bathe in my triple point.
What do they get back? They got back a stream of numbers.
Well,
What's
those
the answer?
numbers,
Those are
those
latitude
numbers
and
were
longitudes.
technically he's
That's,
correct.
that's how the guy discovers the 3 numbers:
Yeah.
longitude and latitude.
Technically-
You also want to end up as a lawyer, Dan.
Got to try and win these things somehow.
Rick
All
gets
right,
the
I'll
points.
just sit
That's big. That's big numbers for Rick.
I'll just sit back now.
Which state do the coordinates point to?
Aha!
I didn't have to think about
Hey!
In case they get it wrong.
Yeah, Dan, what do you got?
Get it wrong.
I win it whenever those 2 guys are not paying attention. It is the fine state of Wyoming.
Absolutely correct. And the scene where they steal the globe out of the state assessor's office is pretty cool.
Okay, here's my goof for that scene. They're about to push this thing off, and he says, "This is a really expensive globe. What are you doing? Be careful!" And they push it off, and it goes donk, and it runs out the door. Look up here. There's already a dent in it.
Oh, multiple takes.
There is
take
too. I
2.
think I noticed that.
They already donked it.
Awesome.
At least take 2. Who knows
Yeah.
what other dents there are.
So Rick gets the points. Wyoming.
No, Rick does not get the bloody points.
Who gets? Oh no, Dan gets the
Dan,
points.
Can you
the
undo
lawyer
points
from
when you
Wyoming gets the points.
All right, nice. Next question. In addition to UFOs, what does Farmer tell the town hall meeting he has seen? Who's the Hong Kong? You're the Hong Kong. Yes. Tommy, what do you got?
He saw a Bigfoot and he heard it too.
He did see a Bigfoot.
But he don't want to hear it no more.
He
I
doesn't say the
wouldn't
word.
ever want to hear that
Doesn't he
again.
say Sasquatch?
I
can't
think he
remember.
says Sasquatch, actually.
Yeah, he doesn't
But
say
the
Bigfoot.
answer, you have to give the right answer, and the answer is Bigfoot. See,
Yeah, I would accept Sasquatch, Bigfoot, not Yeti, maybe
No, that's different.
Wild Man of the Forest. Tommy gets the points. Next question. What is the enterprising man selling in the contaminated zone in Wyoming?
I think that bell was too early. I think if you look at the waveform in the recording, that bell came too early.
All right, there are 2 items. It was out of YouTube, wasn't it? So I will allow you to
Shout at the count of 3.
answer 1 each.
Oh,
So who
one
wants
each.
to go first?
I do.
What's one of the items?
Gas masks.
And Tom?
Birdies.
It was me.
absolutely.
Me, not Tom. Tom wasn't there.
I was there too.
No, Rick doesn't need any more points.
Unlike Dan, I wasn't even before the thing.
Pretty pricey gas mask.
Yes,
too.
as well.
$45 bucks in 1977.
What price of human life, Dave?
So
You're right,
imagine you're this guy who's selling these dog gas masks. He's like, he's watching the news. What? The army? The army says that there's loads of gas. He's like, it's my day. I have a shed full of dog gas masks.
Sends the family
I
out to
knew
them.
if I bought those on eBay, they'd be useful one day.
And I love his voice. They're good for your dog. They're good for your horse. They're good for you. Love it. All right, who got the points again?
Dan and Tom.
Me. I got the points. All of them.
Nice. Next question. What do Gillian and Neary find on the far side of Devil's Tower? Someone came in early. Who has the doorbell? Yeah, he came in too early. Rickers? So who out of you two?
It was
'Cause
probably him.
Well, I would say it's the landing strip, the welcoming area for the aliens.
it is.
Oh, I will.
It's an airbase.
Landing strip, airbase, potato, tomato.
Well, a landing strip will suffice as some kind of air force base or aerial base. So I'll accept that. Okay, next question. Although Tom, you need to get some points. Next question. Which two flags fly at the airbase? Rickers.
The American flag and United Nations.
I think it's not the United Nations. It's that made-up society with that white flag with that weird triangle, which is not the United Nations flag. It's that organization that Truffaut works for.
The United Nations flag is the USA flag. Did you say the US,
Merca is
US
correct.
flag?
Yeah, Merca.
That's correct.
Of course.
But there is another flag, and I'll open it up to the whole group.
French.
You didn't buzz it. You didn't buzz it.
French.
So I will give points to.
What is
Dizzy.
it? Bloody
It's
French.
it's French and US.
Where's the bloody French?
There's other shots in the film that
There
show it
is-
a lot clearer, especially when we're
Lots of
looking.
flags. There's another one over there.
You know that scene you showed me in your music video draft thing for this? When we see that thing, you see those right up close.
Well, it kind of makes sense. They got that French investigator.
He's in charge.
dude.
He's the boss.
And there's the shot where he shows them the motifs of the hand movements for deaf people. And in that hall where they record that, which incidentally Elvis Presley had played in the night before they filmed that scene.
Really?
Yep. In that scene, he's at a podium, and there's three flags behind him. There's the French, and there's the American. And in the
and then
middle
that white
is
thing.
that white thing with the triangle.
It was
Yeah,
on the aerials of the four-wheel drives when they're in the desert, coming over the
That
sand.
says UN.
You see
Then
these-
it says UN on.
Oh, were they
on
UN?
the side, the white trucks. it
that's
says
right.
UN on the side, but maybe the flags are
They
that weird.
had blue flags on those
Right.
trucks.
Yes,
Oh, they
they
did.
were blue.
They had
I
the
can confirm.
UN
the actual
with
UN.
the UN
Yeah.
symbol.
Yeah, and well, there's a blue one here, so I think that's that flag that you're talking. It's probably the United Nations flag. This one.
That one looks like a fish.
And that's shadow.
The Jeepers flag.
Okay, who got the points there? Rick got
think I
half, and
French.
Tom got half. I don't think Dan you got. You even doubted that French was the right answer.
Well, I guess the fish flag.
There's no fish flag.
You didn't say fish. That's
Fish
me
flag.
beeping my orange buzzer angrily.
That's the fish flag, Dave. Thank you very much.
Damn.
All right, next question. Which famous director played Claude Lacombe? And I need the complete name correctly.
Oh, including middle name.
No, just his first and last name.
François Truffaut, without an L. Truffaut.
Yes,
I always spelled it wrong until now.
that's correct. Did Tom buzz in first? He did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think what we need to do from now on is keep our same buzzers so that I get used to which one is which. Because every time we switch them around,
Maybe we have to go like this when we. No, then it's not at the microphone. No. Like this? Raise one hand and buzz?
either that or we have to hire a production crew. Either
You
or.
have to analyze it on the waveform.
We'll workshop it. Next question. Who played Ronnie Neary?
Oh, shit.
Who's the ding dong? You're the ding dong?
You didn't raise your hand.
There's no raising.
I raised my finger. For
Answer,
those,
come on.
Your hand's gonna be cropped off.
what was her name? You
3,
said it before.
2.
Clarice.
No, that's her name. Like
Clarice.
Neary, Ronnie Neary.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Sir.
Did you
Pick
buzz?
Tom,
Yeah, I
he
did.
knows.
Yeah, who?
There you go.
Yes, correct. Spelt.
Terigarr. T-E-I
Yeah.
and then R.
You got more.
Oh, maybe. No, I think.
No, it is
I think it's one.
2 R's and I, and yeah, I think this is correct.
I think it's 1 R.
When she was young, she was quite stunning, and she was in an old school Star Trek episode.
Yeah.
She was the secretary.
With Gary Seven.
They go back in time to Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, she was an old young Frankenstein.
Yeah. Oh, yes, very good in that film.
Insane.
I love that film. So the points go to... Who do the points go to? Tommy.
There you go.
Tommy.
For Rick for buzzing, to me for knowing the answer.
Next question. Which actor from the Rocky series had a small role as a military police officer? You're the Hong Kong? What do you got?
Carl Weathers.
Yes, absolutely. Apollo Creed. Fortunately, it wasn't the version we watched.
No.
Oh, is that a shot from the movie?
That's a shot from the film, yes.
Oh, cool.
Just not the director's cut.
Did he have a
that we
talking
watched.
part?
Yeah, they interacted.
Very cool.
Very small part.
I wonder why it was cut.
Yeah, I'm not too sure.
Was he? Who was he in 1977? Was he someone?
I'm trying to remember when Rocky was shot. The original Rocky. Was that 78?
Yeah, I think
I
so.
think it was 78. So he wasn't Apollo in this shot, when this was made.
Yeah.
Because he was overnight. Sort of
Can you go one slide back, please? That's a lot of. Oh, the top ones are all Sylvester Stallone.
A lot of them.
Oh, yeah.
No,
I
they
see.
are too.
I see.
So these are the people he fought in each film.
Dolph Lundgren, Mr. T.
These, whoever watched these.
Yeah.
Me. All right, so the points. Did I assign the points? Yes, I did.
You can do
to
it
Tom.
again.
So I think that's our last question. So let's have a look at our final scores, which are quite tight at the top.
Son of a.
Wow. What a comeback towards the end of the game from
By
Tom
cheating.
McGill.
Didn't you get both the triple scores?
He did.
Yeah, but then you relaxed because it said, the hare and the tortoise.
Yeah.
You relaxed because it said, I'm so far ahead of you. Let the other two guys so that there's no tears.
Tom spent the night putting $5 on black. You rocked up with $100 and said 64. Fuck it, let it roll. And it worked twice. Twice he scored the big points. But was it enough? No, it wasn't. So once again, second place for Rick. Only this time you were here. Last time you won second place and you weren't even in the studio. So Dan, 60 points. Got to be a little bit disappointed with that.
Well, pending my lawyers when they come in
So this-
tomorrow.
You can
and
argue 50 points out
yeah,
of it.
yes.
60 points.
There's
So-
a potential launch of some kind of dispute.
Yes.
We'll see you in court.
Yeah,
See you in court.
And that brings us to the end of The Probe for another week. Gentlemen, before we sign off, let's give our rating for this film. We use the system borrow, burn, buy in any order. And they're self-explanatory. So we'll start with Dan, who likes to rewrite our grading system for each film. How many dodos do you give this film?
No dodos. None.
So is this a buy for you?
It's a buy. Come on.
Yeah, it belongs in
It's got to be sitting on your shelf.
in your library. Is that unanimous, gentlemen?
Yep.
We all believe that this is a buy film?
I would have borrowed it until I saw it again now.
Yeah.
Now I'd buy it.
Yeah, same here.
Yep.
The fact that I don't have it on my shelf means I shouldn't say buy, but it's a buy category.
Yeah, I think so. I think, and it's a buy that you don't even need a bargain bin purchase price. You know, it's the sort
No,
of
I
thing.
want that. I want the three versions
yeah,
on the
same
Blu-ray.
here.
It's very good. Comes with a little book as well, with colour images from the production and stuff like that. A little bit of story in there, but the special features that accompany that is pretty outstanding, and you get all three versions of the film.
Yep.
So the original, theatrical, theatrical, special edition, director's cut.
Yep.
And they're all, I think, roughly about two and a quarter hours long. So
pretty similar.
there's a solid time spent watching those three different versions to try and figure out what the differences are.
Absolutely. All right, gentlemen. Thank you for participating in our deep dive into...
I have one more thing to say.
Oh, what do you got?
Because it's important.
Yeah.
I didn't mention it earlier. George Lucas.
Nice. What
George
do you got?
Lucas was distraught and empty after he filmed Star Wars. It was a horrific ordeal for him that he came crying to his old friend Steven, and he visited him on set when Steven Spielberg was filming. They were filming both films at the same time,
Yep.
both 77. But Close Encounters came out much like 5-6 months after Star Wars. So George Lucas had wrapped up filming and he went on set and had a bit of a whinge with Stevens. Just chilled out, wanted to relax and unwind a little bit on the set of Close Encounters. And he was so impressed by the set and by the whole story. And he said, "My God, I just made this shitty film out there in the desert, and you got this awesome film going on, Steven. This is fantastic. This is going to blow my film straight out of the water." And Steven Spielberg then went the smart thing he ever said in his life. I think said, "Oh, you want to bet on that? You want to switch income from our movies?"
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah, they switched points. So at the end of like this, films have a point system. And so as a director, you get 5 points. The actor gets promised a point. Dan gets promised a point.
So
for
you're
the
talking
special
back
effects.
end, front end points.
Yeah. Nobody really knows what these points are. That's what the courts decide.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some the stock stakeholders get the investors get something back, and then the studio gets something back, and then at the end there's still $100,000, and that then divides into 10 points. And then if $100,000 is 10 points, and the director gets 5 points, he gets. So when a director sells his movie and wants the actor, he say, I don't know how much money it's going to make, but I'll give you 2 points from my film.
Yeah.
You don't really know. That could be $4,000, could be nothing.
No,
the
but
movie doesn't make
but
anything.
it's forever.
But forever.
That money keeps coming. Like there's that joke on Big Bang Theory when Darth Vader, who's the voice of Darth Vader,
James Earl Jones.
James Earl Jones says, I've got a Lion King check in my residual check in my pocket, burning a hole in my pocket. Let's party. These people, they negotiate points into their contracts, and they just make money forever.
Yeah.
Forever. Even after they die, the people in their estate keep getting that money.
And that's what's happening here. So George Lucas and Steven Spielberg swapped 1 point each.
Wow.
And George Lucas gave Steven Spielberg one of his Star Wars points.
That's awesome.
I don't know if they're still friends. But to this day, George Lucas, well, they each other pay. To this day, they send each other still checks. But of course, the one that Steven Spielberg receives is marginally larger.
That's awesome. I wonder whether Disney sent.
He said he made
Stevens
$40 million just from that one decision.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive, isn't it?
Just from that.
But he'll keep making it. Like until that date, he made 40 million. He may have made 40 million since then.
Yeah, that was an interview. I don't know when. Yeah, probably.
And all he had to do was listen to George Lucas whinge for 15 minutes.
Well, relative to George Lucas, I think it's worth sharing this. This is from the film. And NEARY is grabbing cutouts from a newspaper, and this story is about the thing that happened to him, right? But look at what's on either side.
Yeah, Star Wars article.
This is a Star Wars article. It talks about Carrie Fisher, and on this side it says Star, and on this side it says Wars, and he stuck his article in the middle of a real article from the newspaper based on Star Wars. I love this sort of stuff. This is really cool. All right, gentlemen. I've thoroughly enjoyed our look at Close Encounters, and that brings us to the end of our show. The next episode of Voyage of the Geek will be a brand new movie where we're going to explore narrative and trivia and have a bit of a quiz as well. Feel free to reach out through all the socials if you have any suggestions or feedback about the show. We look forward to reading anything that we get sent through. And until next time, it's bye from me.
Bye from me. Auf Wiedersehen.
So, yeah.
What is your industry? How many of you